The sands of time are cruel and ever-flowing, but at least we have nostalgia to remind us of the good old days. I mean, there might have been the 2008 financial crisis, 9/11, and the whole Bush administration, honestly, on top of being in middle school. Which, geez, was it really the good old days? I mean, really? Well, the cartoons on TV were cool, and that's what really matters. Some of my favorite shows growing up were the Pokemon anime, which was in its advanced generation at the time, American Dragon Jake Long, Gargoyles, Jackie Chan Adventures, Avatar The Last Airbender, Static Shock, and, above all else, Dragon Booster. My name's Zelda, and I was obsessed with Dragon Booster growing up. I'm talking like a full-blown Category 7 autism event. I remember drawing these dragons anytime I could and just thinking about like what dragon I would have, and I tried desperately to catch any episodes I could. I was fortunate enough growing up to have Jetix / Toon Disney / Disney XD, whatever they were calling it. The name changed several times. And very rarely I could find a new episode of Dragon Booster to watch that I hadn't already recorded to my family's DVR. Shout out to my mom, who honestly had the patience of a saint with me clogging up 60% of the family DVR with just the entirety of the series of Dragon Booster. They were my comfort watch, and I genuinely cried when we had to switch TV service providers, so we lost the entirety of our DVR. Believe it or not, all of this actually started with McDonald's toys. I hadn't even heard of the show until I got this funky looking dragon guy in my Happy Meal and was like, what's this about? He's kind of cool. I still have that dragon, actually. This is the McDonald's toy that undoubtedly changed the direction of my entire life, which is an insane sentence to say. I loved the design of this guy so much, and I wanted to know what he was about and what show he came from. So I googled him on the family PC in the computer room, and I learned about this weird show called Dragon Booster. Later that day, I hijacked the upstairs TV, and I watched my first ever episode of Dragon Booster, which was in the middle of the series called Darkness Falls. I was certainly confused, but I wasn't off-put by that at all. Honestly, it just gave me more questions. Who's this guy? Why does he do that? What's happening here? Why are they using electricity? I was enraptured, however. The art style, the fact that there were weird dragon-animal hybrids to serve as wildlife, and the action and comedy styles all left my very young brain absolutely sizzling with delight. I really felt myself stepping into a larger world. From then on, I was obsessed. I found myself consuming every ounce of Dragon Booster related media that I could. I joined online fan forums and yapped relentlessly about these guys. Although I was admittedly far too young to be talking online to strangers, I made so many friends, and I talk to quite a few of them still even to this day, 18 years later. Dragon Booster is what made me realize that maybe a TV series could be something that I wanted to do someday. It's pushed me to become a better artist and storyteller, and I can confidently say that I wouldn't be where I am today without it. The community's still here too. Yeah, it's a really small Discord, but it's there nonetheless. Even 22 years after the show's finale, we're all still here, yapping away about these characters and stories. Dragon Booster is truly special, and I've always said if I could, I would 110% helm a revival of the show as a showrunner and animator. I believe Story Hat still is the copyright holder to the IP as a whole, so like, come on, just one chance, please, I beg, please, just give me one shot, I won't blow it. Here, come with me, and let me show you what I would have in mind. Sit back, grab a pen and paper, a snack and a drink, and let's fucking draw. Now, I'm not going to give a spoiler warning for a show that's old enough to rent a car and order at a bar, so you're going to have to forgive me for not giving a full and formal spoiler warning for the show, unless this counts. Anyway, if I were to revitalize the show for a reboot, I think the best place to start would be some of the main characters. Hot take, I know. I'm currently sketching out a new design for Artha, the hero of this story. Artha Penn is a 16-year-old stable hand who is the son of the famous Connor Penn, a prolific dragon breeder and caretaker who has bred an extinct legendary dragon type back into existence, the black and gold dragon. There's only one of them though, so maybe he wasn't that good if he could only do it once. After his home is literally bombed in an attempt to steal this dragon, Artha is left caring for his younger brother, Lance, without a father, who's missing and presumed dead. Unfortunately, he's not actually dead. I hate Connor Penn. If Connor Penn has a million haters, I am one of them. If Connor Penn has no haters, I am dead. While saving his brother from the burning wreckage of their home, Artha hops onto the back of the golden dragon, who's named Bo, and it's revealed that Bo has chosen Artha to be a legendary hero to pair with his magical golden powers, a dragon booster. And then, the rest of the show is Artha learning how to work with Bo and unlock his ancient powers, and how Artha himself does his best to be worthy of the title of dragon booster. It's a kid's show. It's basically like a superhero learning how to use his powers and not have that conflict with his secret identity. While Artha is 16 in the main show, I want to clarify that this character is 20 in this potential reboot and in these drawings. I don't enjoy making my main characters literal children, and I think aging up the cast a bit is actually going to allow me to explore some darker themes that appear in the show in a little more detail. This show is heavily focused around themes of generational trauma and child abuse, so I wanted to give these topics some room to be treated with the seriousness that they deserve. Keeping in line with the idea of broken families, Artha's color scheme is blue, white, and gold, which immediately makes me think of kintsugi, which is the Japanese art of taking broken porcelain and repairing it with liquid gold to glue the parts back together. There's beauty in healing, and adding the liquid gold actually makes the piece more valuable, personable, and aesthetically beautiful. I didn't think it was a coincidence that a man from a broken family had this color scheme, so I definitely made sure to lean into it quite a bit. Dragon Booster has some admittedly weird fashion choices, I'm not gonna lie. Something I wanted to step away from for sure, but not maybe leave entirely. Artha's design is actually pretty tame in terms of eccentricity, so I didn't have to do much there, just alter the jacket design to give him a hood, take some care in the details like his sleeves and gloves, and oh my god, his boots. Why are they like that in canon? I fixed it. We don't have to worry about it. Artha is a stable hand who's probably been lifting big barrels of feed and hay his entire life. He's a big lad is what I'm saying, and he's built like a shit brick house. Bro is crazy built, but also a little short. In a sea of 6'2" dudes, he is a whopping 5'9". He doesn't let him get it down though. My first draft of the design also felt too militaristic, almost like a uniform of some kind, so I toned that back for the second draft, incorporating more casual elements and patterns, and I actually really like the look I landed on. Sometimes when you have the design that works, you just know, you feel that little zing, it's like, oh shit, that's it. The second version is the one I ended up using as the final design, and this fun sketch here kind of let me get the feel for the character and the details that I wanted to emphasize before putting anything more concrete down. Playing around and making mistakes is what concept art is all about, and I always intend to use that to its fullest. Anyway, here's Artha's first draft, hooray! I'm actually super happy with how he looks here. Bo has two different forms. His true look, where he's the Dragon of Legend and decked out in glittering golden markings, and then there's what the community has dubbed a day racer form, so he can be out in public without any danger of being poached. In this continuity, Artha tells people that Bo is a blue draconium dragon and not a gold draconium dragon, which makes people immediately recoil since he's so far from the breed standard. Very poorly bred, think Scooby-Doo to Great Danes, that's what Bo is to blue dragons. Oh, world building I forgot to mention, shit. There's 13 colors of draconium, which is a funky, magical, and magnetic, naturally occurring mineral in the world. The creators of the show likened it to calcium, and it occurs in a lot of stones, in the earth naturally, and in bones. Humans and dragons have certain colors of draconium that make up their bones. Humans don't change based on their draconium influences, but dragons vary wildly in breed because of this. Gold is a special type of draconium. It's the original color and is kind of like a perfect mix of all of them. Also, gold dragons have superpowers because of this. Both Lance and Connor have bonded with blue draconium dragons and are cited to have blue draconium bones themselves, so it's a pretty common fan theory that Artha would have blue bones in a blue draconium dragon if he didn't bond with Bo. So Bo pretending to be a blue dragon just kind of makes a lot of sense. He's like, you know, what was expected if Artha was not a superhero. They just didn't expect his blue dragon to be kind of fucked up and so far away from breed standard. Bro, what's wrong with your dragon? Why does he look like that? He's not something you would bring to a dragon show, that's for sure. He's got thick, stocky legs, his spine is short, he has these horns that aren't fins or ridges like you often see in blue draconium dragons, and although these will be turned into a defining feature in a later video when I design his legendary form, as a normal civilian, if you saw a blue dragon with this shit, you'd be like, oh, why is it like that? It's like, you know, like you see the pug snorting and it's like, oh, poor thing. His eyes also need to be super big and expressive. Not only are dragons hunters, predators, they have sharp teeth and eat meat, they also need to use eyes to communicate since, you know, they don't speak English. The show doesn't really address the meat eating and hunter nature of dragons like at all, and the dragons in the main show have their eyes essentially on the sides of their head, which is not great. That's not how that would work, so I definitely moved his eyes to be closer together and more frontward facing so he can actually see directly ahead of him. Admittedly, they're not super close together, but we've gone from horse to pit bull. They're still a zip code apart, but we're getting closer. The markings were also such a huge pain in the ass to get right. I had a vision, but something just wasn't clicking. So I recruited a good friend. He and I have known each other for about 17 years, and he's a valued peer and treasured friend of mine who we also met over Dragon Booster. We are so old. We passed some drafts back and forth, and this beauty was born. I didn't change his color scheme too much since I think the blue and red is striking and quite frankly iconic for this dragon. I wanted these characters to still be recognizable even with the much needed facelift. So here's Artha and Bo, all polished up and looking good. Now that our heroes are complete, it's time to work on the actual best character in the show, the villain, Mordred Payne. Mordred will eventually become an anti-hero and an ally over the course of the story. He's very much the Zuko we have at home. He starts as a villain to rival Artha and is the leader of the crew who ended up literally firebombing his home to steal Bo, so the resentment is genuinely understandable. But Mordred is only the henchman to the real big bad of this villain and story, serving the nefarious needs of his father, Word Payne. Word is the typical villain CEO who's determined to take over the world. He's fabulously evil, incredibly wealthy, and is more than happy to send out his son to lie, steal, and cheat on his behalf. Mordred is undoubtedly Word's quote-unquote fall guy, and there are many times where Mordred could just straight up die, and his father just does not care in the slightest. Remember the generational trauma and familial abuse that I was talking about earlier? Yeah, it comes from both sides in this story. For his canon design, bro is chopped. There's no other words for it. That monobrow alone is enough to make me gag. Girly, what are you doing? Shave that shit! So, that was the first thing I did with the design. We are saving you, Mordred. And we're shaving you. Alongside the ability to groom himself, I knew I wanted to make him, like, really pretty. Like, Fabio style pretty. Pretty privilege is real in Dragon Booster, and I wanted to make a man that all of the canon Mordred fangirls would actually lose their minds over. Do you know that he's incredibly popular in the fandom? It's not something I ever got behind. I was an Artha girly as a tween, and now as an adult, I'm in love with this stupid idiot right here named Kata. if you had a cunty OC, you ship them with Mordred. I mean, hell, that happens now still, and honestly, you love to see it. But, you know, I feel like we could do better. We can do better. We can make them hot, chat. To test the waters on this design, I sent it over to my buddy who is a certified Mordred simp and got his reactions to this yassified look. He did not disappoint. So I knew I was headed in the right direction. I wanted his long hair to be thick, and the added texture really made his look start to fall into place. I knew he was a rich bitch, so I made him feel like this snobby, bratty goth who gets all of their edgy clothes from designer names. I also gave him a thorns motif to be extra cunty, along with the earring holding his racing crew's logo. Mwah, icing on the cake. The finishing touch. Oh, he's super gay too, but I think you already knew that. Happy Pride, bitches. We've got doomed Yowie. Now kiss. Artha and Mordred were always endgame to me, even as a child. I just knew, okay? I just fucking knew. They were in love. The default girl character, Kit Wan, who Artha had a crush on since episode 1, literally had the crush plotline dropped once Mordred started coming around to being an ally. Even if it was unintentional, it was there. It was fucking there. Okay, these bitches gay. Happy Pride, these bitches gay. And I'm in charge now, so they can kiss. So, this tall, skinny, homosexual bastard gets his look finished with some big goth boots, yes bitch! And we also need loose, flowy, puffy sleeves. The material billows in the wind like crazy, and I think that'd be super fun to animate when dragon racing. His dragon, Deception, is kind of the opposite to Beau in a few ways. Incredibly intelligent, isn't afraid to use her brains at all on the track. I like to imagine that she works with Mordred instead of being fully controlled by him. A lot of the official world-building lore and expanded media state that black draconium dragons can actually form a psionic link with their riders, which, like, the big if true. I think that that'd be such a fun thing to explore in the show, and like the show never explores it. You wouldn't know outside of like some expanded canon material. Much like Beau, she isn't afraid to show her personality. While Beau is what could be charitably called a goofball, Deception is elegant, reserved, cruel, and sly. She's very much a prim and proper dragon with a slight sadistic streak, which is probably why she gets along well with Mordred. She's much taller and lankier than Beau and is an incredible example of breed standard. What, you think rich CEO Wordpain wouldn't get his son the best of the best for when he goes out in public? That's a reflection of him. He has to have the best. All I'm saying is that if he keeps throwing money at his son, he won't actually also have to spend, real quality time with him. She's beauty, she's grace, and she'd happily claw your face. It's Deception. Now that we have our character designs made, let's actually do something with them. I decided to make a scene featuring all 4 of the characters, but quickly ran into composition problems because the dragons are huge. I wanted to make something showing off a bit of the dynamic we have here between Mordred and Artha. Not the gay one, the rivals one. I went for a scene taking place after a race. Mordred's sneering and taunting Artha for getting his shit pushed in, and Artha's contemplating punching Mordred directly in his pretty mouth. Behind them, Beau and Deception circle and growl, ready to throw down if these 2 gay boys decide to beat the shit out of each other. I've noticed that sketching and line art take by far the longest for me to do, and I think that getting the base details right before coloring is super important. I take so long with my sketches and inks, but it honestly works out because now I don't have to go back and change things after applying things like color. Ironically enough, slowing down at this phase actually helps me speed up overall. Once you get colors down, if you need to make a line art change, it takes so much more time. It's crazy. So much of the overall art process is learning what works and what doesn't, and experimenting and trying new things and techniques. So never be afraid to examine where your time goes while drawing and seeing if there's something different you maybe couldn't do. I am a sunset bitch to my core, so I obviously made it golden hour for this now that, we can start actually coloring and rendering. shading and rendering always go by the quickest for me, but it's also where I have the most fun, so I think there's definitely a correlation there. So I do cell shading, and I make that pussy pop with a little bit of a reverse airbrush technique. If you take away some of the cores and the shadows, it makes it look so much fancier. Is it accurate? Hell no. Does it slay? Yes. And this is the final art that I've made for this video today, because holy shit, this was so much drawing. Let's do a quick recap of what we've made today. Honestly, I'm so happy with these. I wish I had more time to work on these things, but I wanted to get this video out, and on June 1st, it's not that, that's for sure. But I had to get it out before July 1st. First off, Pride. Happy Pride, bitches. Secondly, I'm doing art fight this year, which means that once July 1st rolled around, I am going to have no time to draw anything ever, outside of things for art fight. So, you know, my profile's still a work in progress. I have approximately 3 days to get my references together. It's not going great. I might have like just Zelda and like 2 other characters on my profile, but you know, we make do, right, fellas? So yeah, so I wanted to get this video out because I am definitely making an art fight video, but that's gonna be, you know, at the end of July. So, you know, definitely had to get this out. This show and world are so genuinely important to me as an artist, and I think it's very important for your artistic growth to love and be obsessed with something that's kind of objectively dog shit, because like then you can think about how you can improve it, and it kind of lets you see the weak points in writing, and then it kind of lets you, you know, use that and improve, learn what works, learn what doesn't. It's such an experience to have such a favorite show and then be like, oh, would you recommend it? No, don't watch this. It's so bad. Mordred is honestly probably my favorite design out of all of these, not gonna lie. Holy shit, slay bitch. He serves. He's Dragon Booster's next top model. I'm not even kidding. I'm living for his debut on the runway. Reconnecting with this series has also been super fun too. I've been having a ton of fun rewatching some of the episodes while I draw, and yeah, it's definitely super corny, super silly, and it hits that spot, man. It's trash, but it's my trash. It makes me feel that sense of childlike wonder, which I did completely think was dead because, you know, I haven't been a child for the last 20 years. I know I mentioned animating these characters, but honestly, I don't know if 2D is something I could do with these guys, like genuinely. The original show is animated entirely in 3D, and I don't think that's something I can do. I mean, I would have to... No, don't take me. I'm too young, please, God, no. There. You mind? I can't sneeze.